Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of At the Table. Thank you for being here. Today, we have a very special guest in the studio. Rachel is the CEO and founder of Glowbar, which now has over 22 sites in the United States, specializing in skincare and 30-minute facials. Rachel comes from a family background of skincare, saw a gap in the market, and then targeted that problem with a very fine-tuned solution. In the episode, we talk about ways that she thought about growth early on in the business through the pandemic, and how she thought about fundraising, as well as investing into a team that will last through time. Rachel is somebody that I think has a lot of knowledge, is very approachable, and I hope you enjoy. Again, I feel like I'm glowing today a little bit from my facial.
Really are.
I had such a good experience checking out Glowbar, and I'm excited to dive into the details. But one of my favorite parts of the story, when I was digging in a little bit, was hearing about the family heritage of skincare and beauty. Yeah. It sounds like you had these entrepreneurial roots from the get-go. Tell us a little bit about growing up in a house that had prioritized entrepreneurship and also beauty, and how that looked in childhood.
Yeah. So it's so funny you asked me this because I tell the story a lot now, but probably less. I talk a little bit more as the years have gone on about where the business is today and where we're going. And just yesterday, I was on the phone with someone and they were like, I want to hear the story from you. And it was so fun to relive my childhood and talk about being in a carrier, like the car seat, behind my mom's desk at her salon and having the receptionist take care of me while she was giving facials. Right. So I grew up at a very young age. My mom owned salons, so skincare salons, in Newton, Massachusetts. And she was going in and giving facials every day. So call it Tuesday to Saturday. And on the weekends when I didn't have daycare, she had me to bring with her. And so I grew up behind the front desk at my mom's salons. And then my mom decided to go take over my grandmother's business, Katherine Heinz Institute of Aesthetics. And so then I started going into our aesthetic schools and then our manufacturings and our professional supply stores. And so I really got to see everything firsthand of like building a business, taking over a business, women in entrepreneurial roles and management roles, which not everyone who was born in the 80s really got to see a lot of. And I just got to also play with beauty products and skincare products as a very girly girl. And I always joke that like, thank God my family was in skincare and not like tires, because I'd be like so unengaged and excited by it. And so, yeah, I mean, our dinner table conversations were about our estheticians or the industry. So like what regulations were coming into place in Massachusetts that would affect our business or not. And just also hearing about the people side of the business. You know, if my mom had an employee that was going through a hard time, like that weighed on her, and she would share that at the dinner table. And so my business, like my mom's business and my grandmother's business that she pioneered in the 70s, is a people business. And we do skincare, right? We give facials and we are innovating in the skincare industry. But really at the end of the day, you can't replace us with AI or a robot.
Right.
And so it's a people business. And at the end of the day, making sure that your people feel engaged and fulfilled and seen and heard is where it all starts. And I heard that at my dinner table. So as much as I learned the skincare industry, I really learned how to be a leader and how to be a people person. And I think that has really allowed me to be in my seat today and have some success with it.
Yeah. I remember a story of you in elementary school starting like a waxing business for like family and friends. And I'm curious because I think a lot of people today are looking for that purpose, and it takes iteration to find that and peel back the layers a little bit. But it sounds like, given the dinner table conversations and everything you grew up in, that was like a planted seed from the get-go that you just had to water a little bit. Was that kind of the way that you saw it, or did you have ideas to do other things and then ultimately land on beauty?
So I love how you just phrased that. Skincare is in my DNA. Entrepreneurship is even more in my DNA. I am inherently a risk taker. My mom looks at me and she's like, you are your grandmother, because maybe it skips a generation. But my grandmother in the 70s, as a woman who was just that year allowed to get a credit card on her own, started a business. Unheard of at the time.
Wow.
Now, thank God, we hear women starting businesses every single day, and let's see more of that, right? But she was such a pioneer in skincare, but also in female entrepreneurship. She was like the original girl boss.
Wow.
And so my mom is always like, you and her are just fearless. You guys are not afraid of anything. You'll try anything. You're not afraid of failure. You're certainly not afraid of success. And that really is in me. And I people often ask me, do you think that you can like learn entrepreneurship? And sure, some people really can train themselves and have the discipline to live and breathe that lifestyle mindset, being. But I think 9 times out of 10, entrepreneurship is like intrinsic in you, because it does take a lot of resilience, risk-taking, wonder, and creativity. And not everyone's built like that. And thank God not everyone is, because we need all of us, right, to make this world go round. But I do think that I loved skincare from a very young age, and beauty. I wanted to, like you said, wax everyone and put makeup on everyone. And I've always really gravitated towards that. It's where I get my creative outlet, whether it's skincare or makeup or hair care or things like that. But what a lot of people don't know is I tried to start 3 other companies before Glowbar.
Oh,
and
wow.
I feel like we need to talk more about that, because behind most entrepreneurs, successful or not, are a bunch of little businesses that their friends laughed at them about.
Mm-hmm. Climbing Cringe Mountain,
Yes. Oh my God, I love how you said that. So I tried to start the business that got the most traction before Glowbar was a company named Woofer.
Okay. Woofer.
Woofer, WOOFR. And it was Tinder for dogs. What? I kid you not, Luke. I mean, how cringy. But I really felt strongly about it. And I actually hired an engineer or a coder. I don't even know what you would call this person I hired. Paid him $5,000 that I didn't have. And he went MIA. He ghosted me. I got business ghosted.
No.
And that's why the business never took off, because I got to this line where I was like, okay, this is a sign that it's not supposed to happen. And thank God it didn't, because of Glowbar. But yeah, I did try a few other things. I worked in the beauty industry for a decade, and all of it led me to Glowbar. And for me, that was the right path. I talk a lot about everyone can take different paths to get to the same place. And I think for me, I needed to learn from others for that decade in beauty. I wanted to learn what not to do in many ways, and what to do and exploit and really lean into. And then I tried a couple other things and they never worked out. And then, the third one, I was to my friends, I'm I'm going to start this company. It's going to do 30-minute facials. It's going to be called Glowbar. I started an Instagram page. And I think they would go home to their partners or friends and be like, oh my God, Rachel and her antics again. And now it worked out, thank God. So now I proved them all wrong. But at the time I had to but at the time, a lot of entrepreneurs have to be a little delulu and be delusional about their idea. And you're kind of the only one believing in you for a very long time until it takes off and people are like, I knew that was going to be a success.
Yeah.
Really?
The lone person in the auditorium just clapping for yourself while you're up on stage, just making an idiot out of yourself.
Yep,
but
all the time.
To somebody that's a quick sidebar from the story, somebody that's going through that time right now of there's delusion to make, your way towards something that's extraordinary. But there's also this realism of a lot of this shit doesn't work out. 90-something% of businesses fail. How did you find that self-belief when there was people doubting you along the way? And for anybody that's in that time of putting themselves out there, starting a business that hasn't gotten traction, what would you tell those people?
Yeah, this is going to sound woo-woo-y.
No, we love the woo-woo.
I know, me too. But it's faith. I think it's faith, and whatever that means for you. You might believe in Jesus, God, the universe, source, your grandfather that's up in the skies helping you out, whoever that is. I leaned on that a lot. And what I will say and always say to those people is, what is yours will not pass you. And so keep at it. And if it's meant for you, it will be. And if it's not, something else will be. And so I think in those moments, this is where resilience comes in. I always tell people you don't have to be that smart to start a business. You just have to be the most resilient and pick yourself up every day and clap for yourself in that lone auditorium every single day. And so I think that what is meant for you will not pass you, and you are going to be brought on your path, and wherever that takes you is going to be right for you. And I just think that comes down to like really believing in a higher power and also being a little realistic. If you're coming up against a lot of bumps in the road and nothing seems to be working out, I would remind yourself that nothing changes if nothing changes. And so that's where this like cliche term of pivoting always happens. It's like, okay, not getting any traction and I've been at it for 3 months. Like, what can I do differently to see if I can get a better outcome really comes into place. But at the end of the day, it's all mindset. It's all up here.
I love it. I think a lot of people talk about putting in your 10,000 hours or 10,000 iterations of something.
Malcolm Gladwell.
Yes.
There we go. The outliers.
We love that.
Are we outliers?
I don't know. I know you're an outlier. I don't know about me. I'm still working on mine. But yeah, I think there's this interesting dance between shipping a product and getting it out there to iterate versus like art and like taking care of something and putting a lot of thought. How do you find that balance between iterating and getting something out there versus like, you know, behind the scenes kind of iterating on your own versus just like pumping stuff out and learning by doing?
My approach, which isn't always the best approach for people, but like I get it out there like as soon as possible. Get the feedback, learn if consumers like it, learn if they hate it, get their feedback, get it out there. I think people are their worst enemies when they sit on something for too long. You just have to start. Like that's how I've approached life. I mean, Glowbar opened and we opened our first location June 2019 in Tribeca, and we probably had 80% of everything figured out. And a lot of things that we thought we had figured out didn't really work. And a lot of things that we didn't even know were working started to like come up. So for example, Glowbar is a membership model. We have the largest facial membership in the world. And I turned on the membership an hour before we opened our doors.
Wow.
That wasn't a plan. That wasn't like I didn't raise $1 million initially on a membership model. I raised it on a 30-minute facial that I thought consumers really would appreciate. And now we are a membership model. We are Glowbar, the facial membership.
Which hadn't been done.
No.
How did you land at a membership?
I just was like, well, let's see. The consumer behavior is at the time in 2019 was people got facials, if they got facials, 0 to 1 times a year. That was the consumer behavior. When they were on vacation, a gift card, a special event, if they had a wedding coming up, really like infrequent. And what I knew because of my mom and my grandmother raising me at my dinner table was that you should be getting facials every single month. So I said, okay, well, the only way to get people to do it 12 times a year is to have it be a really like accessible membership program. And so that's where
you're almost like incentivized at that point. You've paid, you're
right.
like,
it's like
cheaper.
A gym membership.
Yeah.
You can come in whenever you want and it can be $80, but if you join the membership today, it's $65 a month. It makes it a no-brainer and it gets the consumer to do what is best for them and their health. So, but yeah, I think you just have to start. Put something out there. You know, people hem and haw about their Instagram feed. Ask my team. I'm like, just put it up. If it bombs, it bombs. Like any company, like it just get it out there and see and don't overthink it.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. I want to jump back to 2019 when you started Glowbar. Mm-hmm. What was the aha moment for you where you knew that this was something that you had to do? And talk about how you thought about subtraction from what your mom and grandmother had done and making it more of you, but focusing on less and just doing less, much more excellent.
Yeah. I love what you just said about doing less because that's a big thing in my life right now that I'm seeing work really well. So we should get into that another time. But to answer your question, it was dinner in 2017 with my mom. And she was saying, Rachel, have you gotten a facial? And I'm like, Mom, shut up. I hate getting facials. I'm like the cobbler's son with no shoes. I would never get facials because they were too long, they were too expensive, and I didn't know who to trust. And I'm an active consumer, call it. Like, I'm busy. I have to work a lot to live where I live. I've got to spend time with friends to get my battery recharged. I want to exercise. I want to meditate, like all those things that we're all trying to do in our time. And I didn't want to fit in an hour and a half or 2 hour facial on my weekends when I had free time. And so I looked at her and I'm like, oh, like, don't ask me this again. Like, I'm sorry I don't get facials. I know grandma pioneered it in the US and you carried it on and I'm just a failure over here. But I was like, I just wish there was a 30-minute facial that was focused on customized results and was a membership model. And I could come every single month for just 30 minutes and $65. And it was super easy. I could pop in anytime. I wrote it to myself in an email just because I was like, maybe one day, your note section of your phone is like where all the good ideas go to die, kind of. And something in me, I don't know what it was, but something in me that night had me going on the interwebs and kind of seeing what was out there. I started a PowerPoint deck that when you look at it, I show my team all the time. It's like the funniest thing. It's like a kindergartner now made it. I wish ChatGPT existed back then because it would have been a lot sexier. But yeah, and so I just started at it. So that was end of 2017. So we opened our first location June 2019. So that's a full year and a half after really the idea came to fruition. And so what I did during that was I raised money from friends and family, like truly friends and family. If we had known each other then, I would have asked you for money right now and been like, you can Venmo me. But I raised money. I had to create the LLC, do all the like legal stuff, branded the company, got partners on board, hired all that stuff. And then we opened in 2019. And so what I knew in that business plan was that it had to be simple. The consumer is so discerning and you have to be direct with the consumer for them to really love your product and to trust your product. You cannot pull a fast one on consumers anymore. They know too much. They're way too intelligent. They're all talking about it. So even if you do, that one person that you do it to is going to go on the internet and talk about it, and then your business is over. And so I knew we had to keep it simple. And so have a really direct business model. It's $65, 30 minutes, come every month, and you will have healthy skin, was really what we led with. And when we knew it took off was probably even day one, Luke. Like I told you, when we turned on the membership, and I forget exactly, I could look how many people came in on day one. And it was mostly strangers, which was wild to me because I thought it'd be my friends, my family, like just being like, all right, let's support Rachel and her crazy little idea. And it was mostly strangers. And I would overhear at the front desk, the studio guide say, okay, do you want to join the membership or are you just going to pay for today? And they'd be like, no, I'll join the membership. No, I'll join the membership. And I was like, oh my God, they all became members. And within 2 months, we were profitable. And so that was when we started saying, oh, this is working. We weren't the only people that wanted this service. The consumer is ready for it. They're hungry for it. And they're showing up to our studio once a month for it. And that was really when we knew we were onto something special. Fast forward, pandemic hit us 6 months later. And that was a whirlwind, but it was also the best test of entrepreneurship. It's like, oh, the universe said to me, like, oh, I'm going to give you a great idea. And now we're going to make you really fight for it. And I'm so glad that happened. I'm not glad that the pandemic happened. Of course, there's so many like terrible things that have happened because of it. But we were one of the lucky ones that were able to like survive it and continue to grow afterwards.
Talk to us about how you survived. Like what did you do differently that allowed you to thrive? Obviously a horrible time to the external macro world, but what were you guys doing differently that allowed you to continue to operate at a impressive pace?
Yeah. I really do believe that everything is about timing. Mm-hmm. When COVID hit in March 2020, mm-hmm. we had one location and 25 employees total, including myself. And we had just a smaller organization to work within, right? We had to furlough all 25 of those people, but it wasn't 500. We had to close down the doors to one store. We had to make up that revenue from one store. If we had 5, I actually don't know if we would have been around today. So we were in a very fortunate position of where the business was in its stage. Now, also, we had just raised money. So we still had a good amount of money to float us. And what we did was I said, okay, well, Glowbar are the experts in skincare. Everyone's at home. Let's have live consultations with all of our clients and anyone else around the world that wants to have a consult, and I'll ship them product. So I moved all of our inventory to my apartment, and I would do things like this. I would hop on a Zoom and I would say, what's going on? How's your skin? And it saved me. I was alone during COVID. And I was like so bored. I'm looking at my dog. Like, I'm like, this is so boring. But I got to have these like Google Meets with all of our clients or non-clients that wanted to talk about their skin. And then I would get to package up them this cute little care package of products that they bought and write them a little note and add stickers and like decorate the outside of them and go to the shipping store. And like, it was really what kept me going the entire, period of time that we were closed, which was 7 months. So through that, though, we made $30,000 a month on selling retail products.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we were still making money, and we had our rent abated because no landlord was they wanted to charge their tenants, but you couldn't. Mm-hmm. We weren't going to pay it even if they tried. And so we were able to like get some cash flow during that time. And then we just waited it out until the governor gave us like direction to reopen.
Talk to us about scaling from that first store and realizing that something's there. COVID hits. It sounds like you guys were closed for 7 months, but coming out of that, you knew that it was a sticky business. People were interested in the membership model. What did that growth plan look like for you, and how did you start thinking about scaling?
Yeah. Scaling to me is somewhat of a scary word because I think businesses historically, and especially in the big like 2015 to call it 2019 venture capital infusion of money, there are a lot of businesses that said, oh, we're going to scale at any cost, dilute the business and the service. Yep. And so when I went out to fundraise in 2018, I made sure to find patient capital, people that would allow me to scale in a sustainable way, because I am determined to create a business that is here for the long haul, which I don't know why, but people forgot to do that in a chunk of time in the past decade. So scaling to me is, yes, growing, but at a rate that your business can still grow and create a solid foundation. You cannot build an empire on a rocky foundation. And so I have scaled, I think, in a really tempered fashion. We went from 1 location to 21 in 5.5 years. That is a lot, but there are a lot of businesses that would have done triple that and tried to do triple that grew themselves out of business and are not here today. Right. And I refuse to have that be my story. I learned that working at other startups. And so again, going back to how I like my career, I'm so grateful I learned that in that decade of working in beauty, because I learned what not to do, even more than what to do in my business. And so it's been really fun to scale. It's been really fun to find partners that were like, all right, I like your vision. Let's open 4 or 5 locations a year instead of 13 or 14 or 15 and break the whole system and have a team that doesn't have great morale, money run out, like all of those things that really happen if you're not realistic about what the business needs. And so scaling has been for us really fun because every studio is thoughtful. It's intentional. It's not making us burst at our seams or our bank account. Like it's a really, I would say, intentional growth path that we've taken. But it's also been, hard. It's every 6 months, if not 3 months, if I'm being really honest, the business changes when you're in growth mode and scale mode. And so, communications have to change, processes have to change, teams have to change. And so you're constantly kind of getting to a place of, okay, we're stable, we're crushing it. Okay. And then you're like, psych, we're going to add 2 more studios to the mix and 5 more people, and we're all going to change. And so it's a constant state of evolution during a scaling, organization.
Yeah, I think it's such a good point on being patient with quality and service, and your customer demographic deserves that, right? Like if they're paying this membership model, they want the same experience if they're going to the Union Square location versus one downtown. I've heard you say something along the lines before of the team is the first client. Like you prioritize your people, which I respect so much and I think is key to any business. Like your team needs to feel incentivized, but also like cared for. And it seems from the outside looking in, like you've cultivated like a great team and almost a community amongst Glowbar. And that's something that I felt when I was inside, is like there was laughter and people were like talking to each other and it didn't feel transactional, which was a really cool experience. So I'm curious for you, like what's the recipe for creating like good team dynamics, and how did you instill that from day one? And as you grew, like what were things that you did to help serve that?
Yeah. I'm not great at a lot of things, but I'm good with people. And I think in our business that has served the business really, really well. So what I did at the very beginning was I knew that humans do well with structure and like guidelines. And so I launched the business with a very clear mission, which is to help people feel confident in their skin, something bigger than us, something to make everyone feel really good. So when they go out into their communities, they do good. And core values. So a Bible, like to live and breathe by. Everyone at this organization takes these 6 tenets, and that's how we operate. And I made them really relevant and super easy to understand. Our core values stand for dopest. So we are the dopest team you can find in skincare. And, it's like driven, outgoing, problem solving, enthusiastic, self-aware, and trustworthy. And so if you are all those things or operating within that, you're going to do really great at work. And also, you now know the expectation on day one of coming into Glowbar as a team member. You know that you need to act as dopest, or else it's probably not a good fit, and that's okay. But that's how this company operates. And so we started with a structure, and humans do really well in that because it makes the expectations really clear. And I think life is about expectations, right? Relationships, companies, all of that, like manager to team member, set your expectations, and then someone will either be able to do them or not. And so I think that was really great. And then I think I hired for personality and trained for skill. So we're a people business. Our first client is our team, and they need to be able to talk to our clients who come in the door and want to get an amazing service. And so, Emma, for example, Emma Smith is one of our first estheticians. She's now on my training team. Like, I had a glass of wine with her during our interview. I don't know if that's something I should brag about or even talk about, but like I was so tired at the end of the day. I was like, I got to interview another esthetician. I asked her to go get a glass of wine, and I still talked to her and interviewed her. She was so lovely to have a glass of wine with. She was so responsible, so smart, so engaging, and she was also a killer esthetician. And I was like, all right, like, why wouldn't I want this woman to give me a facial or give any of my clients a facial that we work so hard to get? And I'm not saying that happened with everyone. And by the way, I've made a lot of mistakes in hiring, and I've gotten it wrong a lot of times, and it's been painful. But I think if you can find just really great people and take your time to find great people, the culture will just start to kind of by osmosis spread. And now we have close to 400 employees.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. And it makes it very hard to sleep at night because I'm like, oh my God, all of their livelihoods are like right here. But what's really cool is that culture has come through, and it shines through in our studios. We also have a lot of fun. Like, it's not that serious. It is serious because we have private equity partners that we need to, perform well for ourselves. First of all, like, we want to do well. It's never fun to not do well. You've been part of teams that don't, and it's just like every day kind of a slog. So we want to do great and hit our goals, exceed our goals, but we also have fun doing it. And I think the fish rots from the head, or it can like grow from it. And I think like I'm pretty playful. I show up just how I am with you right now at the office. Like, and I can, definitely have a different tone and be more serious. But at the end of the day, like this is my dream come true. And so if we're not having fun doing it, it's
why do it?
Why, So, it's been really cool to see the culture kind of take it on its own life. And I'm really grateful for it. I have the best team in the world. Like I can't even, don't even get me started.
You're very approachable. And I think if you set that tone from day one, that trickles down in the organization. You mentioned great people and like high character. How would you define great people? Like what inherent traits are you looking for when you go grab a glass of wine for your team?
I'll bring it back to our core values. They have to be the dopest. I want driven, hungry people. I want people that are outgoing and optimistic and like are gonna go up to someone else and not be afraid of it. We're customer service. It's hospitality. So you can't really be shy in a company like mine because I need you to talk to another human being all day long.
Right.
I need you to be problem solving. So like even in your life, like I love learning about people. It's usually a better indicator of how they're going to show up at work. So like what challenge have you been through? Like, did you move to New York and your apartment flooded? How'd you figure it out? Like truly, like, did you call AAA first or State Farm, whoever your insurance is, and then move in with a friend? Like, how do you navigate like when things don't go perfectly, because that's called business? And how are you going to get through it? My favorite core value of ours is self-awareness. So like for me, the number one thing I look for in life, so every relationship, friendship, intimate relationships, business colleagues, I'm like, do you know what you're great at and where you fall short? And how can we like to just be open about that? It makes it so much easier for all of us, right? Like I said to you, I'm like, I'm really great with people. It's my superpower. It's what I was born with. I did not create this. I didn't study for 10 years to be like this. This is just who I am. And it tends to serve me well. But what I'm not good at is like history. I got a D in history. I don't freaking know a thing about anything, unfortunately. I'm not great at like modeling out like financial models like you probably are. And so like, but I show up and I say, I'm not good at that. I'll try to learn, but also maybe we should bring in an expert. And it just cuts through stuff. And like, I get so excited when a team member comes in and is like, I know I didn't show up as my best self there. Oh, that drove me nuts. And I'm like, yeah, you didn't, but okay, moving on. Instead of me having to be like, hey, we need to sit down and have a conversation about how you showed up. Like self-awareness is the sexiest trait you can find in a human to me. And that's why it's a core value of ours, because at the end of the day, a business that is founder led, the core values are usually what the founder really resonates with. So yeah, that's what I look for in people.
Yeah. You mentioned fundraising a couple times and I'm curious. I know you have PE partners, but early days, you tapped into family and friends. I think I've heard you say you took $3,000 from someone. For a founder that is going down that path and curious about learnings or things that you would do differently, things that you did well, what kind of advice would you give that person?
Yeah. So, and you can read this in many places, my story, but I've gotten over 100 no's for Glowbar on the fundraising side. So I can really tell you how hard it is. I can also tell you that it should be hard. Fundraising should be hard. Money is the number one thing human beings get weird about. Everyone listening knows that because their partner and them have gotten in a fight over money before, or their friends, or like, the friend that's like, well, you owe $395 and money's weird, right? Well, you're going to humans and asking them to give you their hard-earned money or money that they've borrowed from someone else. And that's a really hard thing to do, is to pitch someone on a vision, a company that doesn't even exist yet, and say, give me some of your money and I promise you I'll do good with it. That takes a lot of conversations and thought and trust. And so if you have the expectation that fundraising is going to be easy, you are starting from a really, really tough place. if you go in saying, I know it's going to be challenging, but I'm up for the challenge. And I know why shouldn't I be able to raise money? Then you're going to do a hell of a lot better. And it's going to be a way better experience for you. Yes, I took any money that anyone would give me. I actually think I was looking recently. I think the smallest check I took was $1,500, which is insane. No one would have advised to do that. I probably paid $1,000 in legal fees for that $1,500. But anyways, my thinking was, I need $1 million. Okay, I don't care how I get it. I just need $1 million to make this vision a reality and to prove something so that I can go out and get $10 million one day. And so I took money from anyone that would give me money, small, big. No one advised me to do that. Everyone said that was the wrong approach. And I was just like, well, I don't really think that Rachel knows any better way and can do it any other way. And so that's how I'm going to do it. And I think that dating is like exactly like fundraising. Fundraising and dating, same thing. You have to kiss a lot of frogs. You've got to put yourself out there, and you can't do it from your apartment. You have to have meetings in person, get people to know who you are. This business is about you and your brain. That's what they're investing in. They are not investing in the business yet because it doesn't exist and they don't know how you're going to solve all the problems that come with it. So they want to know that they can trust you, that you can navigate things, that you can sit with someone over a coffee and talk to them about your business, because you're going to have to do that with bankers, with other investors, with insurance people. Like, it's still such a people business. You can start an AI company, but still have to talk to humans all day long. Are you going to be able to talk to publicists about this, editors, whatever your industry is? And so I think that you just have to go in understanding exactly what it is, and also remind yourself, who better than you to do it? Like, I would say that to myself. And by the way, I cried. Oh my God, my best friend always says, remember that day that guy from, what was his name? Cho. Oh my God, I think his name is Cho. My friend always says, remember that day Cho passed on you after many conversations and you were on the street corner in Union Square and you were hysterically crying, being like, he passed. Glowbar's never going to get funding. And I'm like, yeah, that was so real in that moment. I gave myself that hour to hysterically cry in Union Square. But like, you know, it happens, and you just have to pick yourself up, and that's where resilience comes in again. If you're not resilient or you're not ready for this game, don't start it. Stay at your company. There is beauty in working for someone else, let me tell you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Perseverance, so important. I'm curious, this seems to be a common theme for you, where you have tapped into resilience throughout the journey, and that's required in entrepreneurship. Are there things that you do to kind of regulate your mind so that you can process and, you know, give yourself an hour to cry on the corner in Union Square and then move on? I'm curious, just ways that you've moved through these things over time.
So I want to sit here and tell you that I meditate every day for an hour before I have my coffee, and I exercise and I do yoga and I write in a journal and all the things. And the things that have been most consistent for me are gratitude. I really do. I have a 5-minute journal. Do you know the 5-minute? Yeah.
Yeah. Alex Icon.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's the simplest, easiest, most brilliant thing ever that's ever come into my life. I gift it all day long. My team probably has, each of them have 3, because every Christmas or holiday I give it to them. But I really do believe in just write 3 things that you're grateful for, how you can make today great, and what your mantra is. So I do a lot of like mind games. It really is a mind game. I consistently see my therapist. I've been with her. It's my longest relationship. We've been together 11 years. I'm obsessed with her. Her name is Elisa Kriegel. She actually just launched a book, and she's so incredible. And so, yeah, she's my like coach, right? She's in my back pocket, like helping me be like, yeah, okay, one investor said no, but you have 5 others that said yes, so you can get through this, moving on. And I'm like, okay, right, you got it. And I also consistently, probably for the entire time of Glowbar, go on a walk every morning. This is not like the most, I'm not blowing anyone's mind here, but getting outside, moving your body. I'm not like a huge athlete, but I'm walking at a pretty good pace every morning with my coffee, and like it just helps clear my mind. I also make phone calls. I'll have walking meetings. Like, I don't know, getting outdoors. And I live in Manhattan, so like we're in the concrete jungle. I'm not saying that I'm like in like a nature walk every morning, but like looking at the West Side Highway and at the water really does something for your body. And I've actually gotten super obsessed with this topic. Like, I think that what sunlight can do for you on a mitochondrial level is profound. And I don't think we talk about it enough. And so I actually wonder if, because I religiously, rain, snow, sunny, dark, I'm out there walking. And I really do think it has really given me a stable body. I don't know how to say it any better.
Yeah, no, I think it's such a good point. I find myself when I'm at my desk for too long, I get stuck.
Yeah.
And so getting in the habit of, to your point, scheduling walking meetings or even just like going for a run, taking your dogs out for a walk on the West Side Highway, especially when you're in New York and there's like so much just chaos around.
Yeah.
You have to kind of detox from that and allow your mind to just like breathe for a little bit.
Yes, it's so important. And there's a lot of studies on walking and what it does to your brain. And I know for me, who can get distracted easily, I mean, if I'm on my computer, I've got my text messages up, my Instagram on my browser, which don't tell anyone, my Slack, my email, my personal email. Like there's just so many things that can distract you. And when you're walking, you can really focus better. And also, I think there's a lot of like research that's done on like what it actually does to your brain chemistry and like focus and like just being more articulate and really like having better processing, I believe. So I find it really helpful and it gets you moving.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. You were talking a little bit about therapy and like men and women. Yeah. I'm curious. When I went to Glowbar, I asked the lady that was working with me, what % of men are going to get facials, the demographic. And she said anywhere between 20 to 30% of customers are men, which to me was actually pretty high. I was expecting less.
Yeah.
So I'm curious for you, like, is that something that you've seen get normalized over time? How do you guys think about therapy? For me, brought it up because I feel like men, there's like this stigma around therapy. And a lot of my friends, myself included, are warming up to the idea of it, invested into therapy. But it seems maybe like beauty might be this other thing where people are migrating to it. And so I'm curious how you guys think about that.
Yeah. It varies location by location. So you can imagine downtown in New York, Union Square, men that live in New York City are metropolitan. They're probably trend driven. They're hearing more, they're learning more. Maybe in a suburb, less men go. But we have seen an increasingly amount of men come and get monthly facials. And I get so excited because first of all, I'm like, yeah, you should be taking care of your skin too. And second, I built Glowbar so that it wouldn't be polarizing to men. And so to see them show me that it is comfortable for them, that it isn't a spa-like experience. And so they won't have to put on a robe and look at all the pink and purple stuff everywhere. Like it's really, we want anyone with skin to feel comfortable at Glowbar. And seeing men start to take care of themselves is really, really amazing. Don't get me started on the topic of like just men in this country and the stigmas and holding themselves back, like the repressed nature of men at times. But I do think that like things like Brotox, people are talking more about men getting Botox has really helped this conversation. Obviously, we're all like wellness is a huge category, longevity. We all want to look better as we age. And so I think that that's starting to seep into the male demographic. And we love seeing men. We're actually going to start marketing more towards men because we're seeing them organically come in. Usually they do need a woman in their life to bring them, whether it's a mom, a sister, a partner, a best friend, something like that. But they're resonating with it. So
I think the model that you've built also speaks more to men just because it's like, it's quick. It's 30 minutes. You cut out all the bullshit, right? You're in and out. And what I loved about it actually, and I guess I didn't really know what to expect, but part of me was like, when I would go in, I was like, maybe it'll be like getting your hair cut where you just kind of have like this small talk. And it wasn't that at all. It was like very much so like, all right, what are you doing for your skin? Walk me through your routine. Okay, here's what I think you could be doing better. And I walked out of there. I was like, holy shit. Like I have actionable like things that I can do to help my skin. And Lord knows I need that. So I thought it was like a really, really cool, just like a comfortable feeling, but you walk away with actionable things that are digestible. And for somebody that like, you know, I can small talk all day in a salon shop, but like to me, the 30 minutes was very well spent because I walked out of there, one, glowing,
Yes.
but two, with things that I can do to improve my skin. So I
Yeah.
think that would speak to men more,
Yeah.
maybe than
Men are simple.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just leave it at that. But men are simple, and you like direct communication. You like when it's like really logical, right? So our 30 minutes for $65 is really easy for a demographic like you to wrap their head around. And then, yeah, it is educational. So I took the facial out of the dermatologist intentionally because I wanted it to be highly effective. And men, when they find something that works for them, they're loyal for life. They are the stickiest. You guys are so loyal with beauty products, not with women, I feel like sometimes, but that again is not the topic of this conversation. But like, you're so loyal to your like skin cleanser. When you find one, you just buy it for the rest of your life. It's why like you probably use like the same deodorant that you used when you were 14 or 15.
Yeah, it's
Seriously.
True. Totally. It's easy.
So,
it's
yeah.
familiar.
Yes, exactly. And I think that we love that. And we're like, oh, let us get you obsessed with Glowbar and you'll be a member forever.
Capitalize on it. Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about where you're at today. So you scale Glowbar up to 21 stores, and congratulations on the ride. Like, so cool. But from the outside looking in, you've had all this success, right? And I'm curious, is it something that you are still like fired up about? And is it something you see yourself pouring into forever? Or are there seeds that you're starting to plant that you want to water in the next decade?
Yeah. I've never been more excited about Glowbar in my life, which is crazy because the amount of passion and excitement I've had for it and like just the identity I've taken on over the past like 6-7 years of working on it is like profound. Like really, I feel like most people are like, are you Rachel from Glowbar? Or like Rachel Lista from Glowbar? Like it's on my identity. It's all I really like do, for better or for worse. And so you would think I would be like tired of it or like not as excited for the future or things like that. But we've actually figured out so much that we're like, oh, this is getting fun. We know how to open a studio so easily. We know how to ramp that studio so well. We know how to get like thousands of members to join. And so like to our point earlier, when you're doing good, you feel good. And so I feel so excited about Glowbar because now I also feel like the industry is really, we're on the same time frame. Most consumers know that they should be taking care of their skin. And so we're riding that wave and it's so, so exciting. I've always wanted Glowbar to be so much bigger. I never wanted this to be a mom and pop. Although I'm very proud of 21 studios, I'm still a little bit like, okay, whatever, we need to get to 100. That's just my personality. And I also want to see hundreds of communities feel better and more confident in their skin like we do for the 21 communities we're in today. And so getting out to the West Coast, further expanding through the country, down south, like I want Glowbar to be there. And so I'm still just as jazzed and fired up about it. And I think like it's about to actually explode more than we could have ever realized. So yeah, I'm fully in it. I think that any CEO or founder that looks at you and tells you that they're in it for their entire life might genuinely feel that way, but it's actually unrealistic because at one point, and I don't think it's for a very long time for me, but at one point I won't be the right person to be the CEO of this company. And if you don't have a plan when that happens, or if you don't have the understanding and the lack of ego to admit when that happens, that's when I think companies actually fail. It goes back to that self-awareness piece. One day, Rachel will not be the right CEO because we'll have 100 locations, and I've never scaled a business at 100 locations and hundreds of millions of revenue. And I probably wouldn't be the right person to be at the helm of that. I sure as hell will be on the board of that. I will, of course, be there like in any capacity that would be right for me. But that's not for a while for me. But I think I would be lying if I was like, yeah, I'm going to be 95 and retire at Glowbar. Like, no, because like that wouldn't be what's right for Glowbar. And at the end of the day, as the founder CEO, you have a fiduciary responsibility to your organization to do what's right by the company. It's no longer about Rachel.
Totally. Yeah, I think very well said. Last question I have for you. Comes down to just like beauty in modern day. And as we've gotten more connected digitally, I think there's a lot of positives from that and staying connected with people, but there's also a lot of comparison out there of what, the perfect person might look like. And I'm curious, as somebody that, is focused on beauty standards and trends that you've seen leading up to today, where you see beauty going. Is that something that is top of mind for you guys, or how do you see the beauty industry shaping in the next 10 years with the rise of like a digital age, probably some more comparison and this expectation maybe for women and probably men too, that I need to look this way, and trying to fit into something versus like being uniquely them?
Yeah. It's something I think a lot about. It's something that I check us on often because I don't want to perpetuate the comparison that we all do on social media and to one another. It's the thief of joy. Skincare is the most innovative industry. I can barely keep up with it. I always joke that I learn more on Skin Talk than I do even reading or just talking to my other friends who are estheticians, dermatologists, business owners in the industry. Consumers know more than anything these days. But that's what makes it fun. And that's also, to your point, what makes it a little bit scary because, is that ChatGPT or is that her real picture or his real picture? And is that business showing you can look like this if you come to X Med Spa? Is that even a real person? And I think there's a lot of concern with that. Glowbar, like everything else, keeps its head down and focuses on what we are experts at while also trying to do good to our communities. And so the position that we take is really that we are helping people feel more confident in their skin, whatever that means. So we always ask, and I'm sure you experience this, what are your skincare goals today? Because even if an esthetician sees acne on you, it's not their right to call that out unless if you ask. And so someone with acne might say, I just want to relax for 30 minutes and I like how my skin looks. Okay, great. Unless if that client asks you if there's anything that you notice about my skin, you don't say anything. You give the client what they need to feel comfortable and confident in that moment. And that's kind of our position. We are here as a feel-good company. When you feel good about yourself, Luke, when you feel hot and your skin's glowing, you're like, I can do anything. Oh my God, that person just looked at me at the coffee shop. You're being nicer to your partner.
Yeah.
You're being more patient with your kids. You're saying hi to the barista because you're feeling yourself. Mm-hmm. That's the goal of Glowbar. And so, yes, we're a beauty company. Yes, we're a skincare company, but we're really more about the internal. How are we making people feel at each of our studios? So going back to your original question, it's not necessarily Glowbar's responsibility to tackle the beauty standards because we're not giving any advice of how someone should look. It's purely a healthcare move. It's is your skin where you want it to be for your health? It's similar to weight. It's I'm not going to tell someone how much they should weigh. How much do you want to weigh? All right, if I have the tools to get you there, I'll help you. But it sure is something that for me, who hopefully will have daughters in the future and have so many nieces, it terrifies me. I re-downloaded Snapchat recently because my friend uses it, which is weird. But I was oh my God, what are the filters looking like? I looked so hot on Snapchat and I was oh my God, I could look like this. How do you not love yourself in that filter? Because you look like a Kardashian or Emrata, whoever you want to say you look like. But that's scary.
Yeah.
And I'm I don't want any little girl to ever see one of those filters because I don't want them to think that they should look like that. So I don't know. This is scary.
Dangerous dance. But I think what you guys are doing is very empowering to uplift somebody in their own skin, make them feel confident and comfortable. That's a beautiful thing. Yeah. So thank you for your work and thank you for your time today.
Yeah.
Where can people follow along the journey of Rachel and Glowbar.
Yeah. Glowbar is simply Glowbar on Instagram. We love that we have that handle. I'm Rachelista. And yeah, anytime anyone, I always say my DMs are open. I'm always chatting with people. It's like my favorite thing to do. So yeah, slide in there, say hello, book your appointment at Glowbar on glowbar.com, and let me know feedback. I'm like super into hearing people's experiences at Glowbar.